morning, everyone. It's good to see you all here. Thank you for coming out today. Under the covering of a thatched roof on the edge of town, an artisan and his apprentice hunched over a particularly difficult piece of work. Molding the clay with their hands, they were simply working and crafting a piece of art. They wanted a perfectly round bowl to use in their temple, but they were having a really hard time with the edges. Master, the apprentice, said, "What if we could make the table spin?" With that simple question, the art and utility of modern pottery was born into the Middle East, and that happened about the time most of the artifacts that we will have on display were crafted. The craft of manufacturing important items and encouraging innovation in the next generation have linked the art of manufacturing with education for millennia. And so with that in mind, we are proud to honor that tradition as we announce a partnership between the University of Pikeville and the City of Pikeville to bring something very special to Eastern Kentucky that might more frequently be seen only at a major metropolitan area. Opening in January 2017, we will host a collection of over 200 artifacts from ancient Israel, Jordan, Egypt, and Syria. Our exhibitor, Tommy Chamberlain, will go into more details in just a minute. But first, I want to take a few minutes to thank some people who are important in bringing this project here. When the university was first approached with the idea that we might be able to attract this exhibit, we realized that we needed a solid partner to help us make this happen. And as usual, we found a partner in the City of Pikeville. Thank you to the mayor and to city leadership for agreeing to be a part of this event and agreeing to help us with this project. Of course, there are others who have played a significant part in bringing this exhibit here. The Pikeville County Public Library District, the University of Kentucky Cooperative Extension Office, the Pikeville Office of Tourism, and of course the Hilton Garden Inn have been each important in their own way, and we'd like to take a moment to thank them as well. Finally, I'd like to personally thank the Exhibit Planning Committee, some of whom are here today. Would you stand if you're here today? That's right. And I want to thank the Alumni Association as well. Without their vision, none of this would have happened. And now I'd like to introduce the Mayor of Pikeville, the Honorable Jimmy Carter.
Thank you, Mr. President. You know, this is really, truly a historic occasion. With the York House coming online and so many other events that we're going to be able to help promote, this is just one small thing that's going to help. And with the community leadership and the students that are going to be able to take care of, or be able to come and just hands-on see what's going on with this exhibit. It's great. You know, there's going to be over 200 artifacts that you'll be able to look at. And the city of Pikeville embraces itself and the history of arts and culture, not only locally, but throughout the world. And if it wasn't for Tommy Chamberlain, you know, this wouldn't have happened. And I heard him talk on EKB TV the other day about being an archaeological geek. That's right. We need more geeks like him to bring this kind of stuff here to Pikeville, you know, small town, to get this. So I'd like to give him a big round of applause for all of his hard work and dedication to get this here. It's amazing that we're going to be able to get this here and be able to use the York House. Now the York House doesn't look like much right now, but give it just a few more months, and it's going to be an outstanding, shining example of what the community can do, exactly what we're trying to do here with this exhibit. Again, thank you all for being here today, and God bless. Thank you. This is, I think, Barry Cheney, City Commissioner Barry Cheney's next. I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce you to Barry. So he's usually not a mince for words anyway. So.
Well, first off, I want to commend my fellow commissioners, Josh Huffman, Jerry Keith Coleman, Frankie Justice. They've supported this project very strongly. And I also want to commend Mayor Carter, his leadership and support of this program is going to help bring it all to pass. And also, I want to also mention his wife. She is announced she's cancer-free. And she was talking about her healing faith on Facebook yesterday. And I was very encouraged and pleased to see that. And after all this started with faith, didn't it, Tommy? There was a man named Abram, and God spoke to him one day and told him to get up, leave your country, leave your family, leave all that you know, and go to a land that I will show you. And Abraham responded without doubt, without uncertainty. He got up and he took his wife Sarai. And later a promise to Abraham, his name was changed to Abram, and his name was changed to Abraham. Sarai's name was changed to Sarah, and they became the father and mother of Isaac, who all the nations of the world were blessed. These artifacts come from a period of time, what I understand, of Joshua, and they come from the most interesting place, which we here in the mountains, Tommy, call it Ai, but I think the correct pronunciation is I. And that was where, as I talked to Tommy at the beginning, that was where the whole campaign of Canaan could have came to an end. Because after the defeat at Ai, the Israelites' hearts melted like water. And it was Joshua, when God spoke to Joshua and told him to get up and have heart and take the cursed thing from them. And they found that someone hadn't obeyed God in the Battle of Jericho and taken a Babylonian robe and a wedge of gold. And it was buried in his tent. To take that thing and get it out, to get the sin out of the camp. And before they went on further into battle. But that victory was a victory that allowed them to conquer the land of Canaan. And I think that Spirit of God still lives with us today. And these artifacts are going to be like opening a window to the pages of the Old Testament. The sling stone, after holding that and it's about 2 pounds in weight, you can better understand how David killed Goliath. To see the cup, the Roman cup that was in Jesus' time, to visualize him actually taking this cup and drinking from it. All those things, I think, should be inspirational. And I would also like to point out that this exhibit usually is in one of the 100 major metros. For a town the size of Pikeville, 6,900 people, to have something like this is just unbelievable. Every Bible scholar in Central Appalachia should want to come and experience and see these things and be motivated and encouraged and see how that God is who God says he is, and that he is a rewarder of those that diligently seek him, and that faith through him we can do all things, because Jesus told him, one man, through faith, all things are possible. And I'm gonna keep on. I'm gonna start preaching here. But I'm like I say, I am excited. I know Josh is excited, and many others are excited about this. And I hope people come from all over to be encouraged and have their faith strengthened by actually looking at these artifacts. Thank you.
How's everybody doing today? Now, I'm going to point something out that you may not have caught. No one yet has been brave enough to try to say the name of this exhibit, if you haven't caught that. So we're going to educate you, and I'm going to tell you that I butchered this name until I actually spent a little time with the archaeologist, and he corrected me on it and a few other things I was mispronouncing related to archaeology. But our exhibit name is Khirbet el Maqatir, a journey through biblical history. So what I want to do first, though, is talk about our partners. How do we get this here? How does this happen in Pikeville, Kentucky, or Eastern Kentucky? As mentioned, I might be a little bit of an archaeology geek, and one of the groups I'm a member of has a exhibit touring the U.S. And that exhibit, they started looking and said, we need other universities willing to host our exhibit. So I wrote and said, how about the University of Pikeville in Pikeville, Kentucky? And I got a very polite response that I could read between the lines that said, you're probably a little too small, but we want to hear your proposal anyway. So I wrote up a nice proposal and sent it to them. At that point, I realized I probably needed to confess to the university what I was up to, since I had a bit of a secret. And I went and said, I've went and done something. What do you think? And to his credit, Mr. Ron Dameron said, that is an amazing opportunity for our community. If they write back and offer it, you tell them we accept, and we'll find a way to make the finances work. So they wrote back and said, we've looked at your information, and we find it interesting. And just so you know, we're excited to say we're going to Pikeville, Kentucky. So that was our first partner. That was the Associates for Biblical Research. They are currently in charge of the largest archaeology excavation in the country of Israel at a site named Khirbet el Maqatir. Now, we'll tell you more about that as we go along in this process, but I did want to introduce you to someone. Now, this is a picture of me and Dr. Scott Stripling, which is their excavation director or their directing archaeologist. And what I wanted today was you to hear from someone just besides people from Eastern Kentucky. So we actually have Dr. Stripling with us today via video, a clip from Jerusalem, talking to the people of Pikeville. So let's take just a minute and hear what Dr. Stripling has to say.
I want to welcome the folks in Pikeville, Kentucky for our grand exhibit of the Khirbet el Maqatir History of a Biblical Site. It's coming to your town in 2017. We want to express our appreciation for the partnership we have with the City of Pikeville and your generous donation, also the University of Pikeville, and in particular, the Alumni Association. I'm standing here right now in Jerusalem at one of the most important sites. This is just outside the Praetorium where Jesus was on trial before Pontius Pilate. It's these types of biblical sites that we as archaeologists working in the land of Israel try to bring to light. And you guys at Pikeville are very fortunate that these artifacts and the story itself is coming to your city. So we want to welcome you. We want to thank you for your partnership. I'm personally excited to be coming to your town in 2017 and hope that you'll take time to come out and see our exhibit and enjoy the culture and the richness of first century life all the way back into the times of the conquest.
All right, so that's Dr. Stripling from Jerusalem at an interesting site saying hello to the people of Pikeville, Kentucky. So what happened from there? So we have this partner, the Associates of Biblical Research, headed by Dr. Stripling, and we have about 60 artifacts coming from the site of Khirbet el Maqatir. And at that point, we found a wonderful partner in the city of Pikeville. And when we found that partner, we said, when are we going to have this opportunity again in Eastern Kentucky? So we said, let's go for broke. Let's make this thing as big as we can. Let's make this like something you would only see in a large city. We have a beautiful, amazing, important, smaller exhibit coming. Let's go big. And we started looking for other partners, and we found one. We found the Horn Archaeology Museum in Michigan that does archaeology work in the country of Jordan, and their expertise is the biblical era in the Middle East. And they said, we like what's going on in Pikeville, Kentucky, and we want to be part of it. And so they agreed to send around 150 additional artifacts all the way from the time before Abraham down through the time of Jesus to here. Now, I thought about what can we tell you today and how can we tell you what's coming. So I said maybe the easiest way to go about that is to talk about a few things we're doing, what we're going to bring, and tell you about how we build up to it. First of all, we actually have a collection of the artifacts here already. We have about 30 things. And we are taking those to church groups, community groups, businesses, any group that's interested in saying, we want thousands of years of history in our site, and somebody to come tell us about those. If you're interested in that, please let us know. And we said another great thing, instead of just hearing Tommy talk, let's bring an archaeologist here. So we have a famous biblical archaeologist coming on April 29th and 30th. And he's going to be speaking on the excavations of Jericho and Khirbet el Maqatir on those nights. So we have some events coming up that we want you to know about, and you'll find those on the back of your program on dates to remember. But how do I tell you what's coming? I thought what would be nice is just to tell you about a few of the artifacts we're going to see. And I'll keep this short, but I'm just going to show you a few pictures and then we'll be finished. The one artifact I had to point out today was a little tiny thing, a scarab. It's an Egyptian scarab dating to around 3,500 years ago, and it's a little tiny thing, and it will be one of the most important things we have here. It was voted the #1 biblical archaeology discovery in the year 2013 by a publication called Christianity Today. It's very important because it helps date the site of Khirbet el Maqatir, so we know when the ruins date to, which puts it to around the time of Joshua. Very important. So we'll have that here, but let's talk about a few other things. What I decided, instead of picking the big headline items out, I wanted you to see even some smaller things. okay? And so we can understand the importance of story. For example, we have this young lady who's going to be here. She's what we call a fertility idol. She's from Syria, and she dates to about 1700 BC. So she'll be here. And this little alabaster jar. The ladies, for some reason, always like the alabaster jar. That is Roman. It dates to 2,000 years ago. And we imagine a story from the life of Christ when the lady with the alabaster jar anoints him. What did she use? We don't know. We know it would have looked something like this. Okay. And speaking of the Roman era, you can't talk about Rome and not have things from Rome. We have a broken tile from Jerusalem, and if you'll look close at the picture, you'll notice there's writing on it. And the L is missing, but it would have been an LEX, the symbol of the 10th Roman Legion, the famous army that would destroy Jerusalem and the temple in 70 AD. And lastly, we have a cup, and I like this cup. To me, this is going to be one of our headliner items. This is a Roman-era cup from 2,000 years ago. Our copy here in the picture is unfinished, but it reminds us of what a finished, smooth copy of the cup would look like at that time. And here's why that is so important. We have in modern history a lot of interest in a pop history thing we call the Holy Grail. And Indiana Jones goes after the Holy Grail, and we see lots of things like that. Well, nobody asked the archaeologists, what does the cup that Jesus drank out of at the Last Supper probably look like? Well, we find out because they're interested in ritual purity, that pottery becomes impure, they believe, so they want stone. So it's almost certainly a stone cup. So the cup Jesus drank out of at the Last Supper was probably a stone cup, something like that. And here's what's interesting. Someone in this room is holding that cup today. All right? Rob Music, would you bring that here, please? Let me get back to the microphone. What you may or may not know is we have something special for you here today. We have the artifacts. 30 of the artifacts that's going to be in the museum exhibit are already here. And what we're going to do in just one moment is open these curtains and invite everyone to see thousands of years of history. Literally, something from before the pyramids were built down to the life of Christ. But I do want to mention something very special as you're going to come up and look through all of this. Make sure you stop right over here because Mr. Music, our chaplain at the university, is going to give you a chance to touch and hold real history. And he's going to let you hold the cup, a sling stone from 2,800 years ago, a bowl from a place called Bobit Drah. Some archaeologists would tell you that it may have been a place called Sodom, and another jar handle from the time of the kings of Israel and Judah. So I hope you've enjoyed the presentation. We didn't want to keep you too long, but please come enjoy the artifacts. Give us just a minute to get a couple quick pictures for the press with everyone here when we do the reveal. And then come see. I'll stay around. I'll tell you everything you want to know. The president will help you with that too. I told him we're going to volunteer him for that. And come see the artifacts. And if you want a snack, we have a snack in the kitchen. I hope you've enjoyed this. One last thing before I hush. Does anybody have questions? You're always supposed to take questions. Any questions? All right. You all want to see the stuff, don't you?